So welcome everyone to Realise Resilience. I'm Alister Gray, and today I am really delighted to be joined by Duro Oye. I hope I'm pronouncing your surname correct.
Oh,
No.
Oye.
Oye. God,
Yeah.
we've known each other for a long time, and I've been pronouncing your surname.
That's the first time you've actually said my surname.
It actually is. So I'm joined by Duro Oye.
Yeah.
Who is an incredible social entrepreneur, an award-winning filmmaker, the CEO of 2020 Change, which is a youth empowerment organization who I've had the personal pleasure of working with and continue to work with. And Duro, I'm just delighted to have you here today. So
thank you for having me, Alister. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
I think to give a little bit of context about how we came to know one another, you were obviously, at the time when I met you, you were part-time setting up 2020 Change. You were...
No, I mean, like, we'd already been set up, but I wasn't working on it full time. So I had a 9 to 5 alongside running 2020 Change on what some would call a full-time basis, but it just wasn't 9 to 5. It was more so all the hours outside of the 9 to 5 were spent developing the organization. So yeah, I only just made the transition fully into full-time CEO of 2020 Change in November 2019. So it's been a exciting journey so far.
When I say part-time, yeah, that was doing a disservice, because I know the hours that you were putting in at the time to work a full-time role and then arguably work another full-time role, like you said, in those hours in between. And we were introduced through a mutual contact, Isabel from Converse.
Yeah.
Those guys have been supporting 2020 Change, which is amazing. And I remember the first time speaking to Isabel about you guys, and she'd overheard us delivering a breathwork session, myself and Stuart. And she kind of came and approached us afterwards and was really curious. She was like, "What were you guys doing in there? There was a lot of weird noises going on." And she started telling us about your project, Duro. And I mean, I'm talking within about 20 seconds, I was already in.
Wow.
And she said, we're working with these guys, and this is what they're doing, and they're helping, young people and empowering them to realize their potential. And all those words resonated with me. And she said, "We'd love to get you on board. Would you be open to exploring that?" And I said, "We don't have to explore it. I'm in. Like, where do we start?" And that's how it began. And so, thankfully you felt keen to bring Stuart and I in to deliver some mind and breath sessions for the young people. And we are just, always amazed at how inspiring the sessions are. And I think on a personal note, Duro, and I've told you this, but you really inspire me as a leader. You're someone that I've got to see in action, how much the young people love you and respect you and admire you. So, like I said, it's a great pleasure to have you on here today. And
thank you very much for
feature you guys as part of the program.
Thank you.
So I'd love to jump in, Duro, and know this whole movement that we're creating, Realise Resilience, is about resilience. It's about recognizing that, everyone in life goes through adverse experiences, through challenges. And I would love to start with that, to hear about your own story of resilience or stories. So it would be great to hear, about some of the experiences you've gone through, but also how it shaped and molded you into, who you are today.
When you asked me to have this conversation about resilience, I thought about it, and I was like, there are so many stories that I could share, but then I just thought which would resonate more with your audience. And I thought, let's just have the conversation and see how it goes. But the story that comes to mind is literally getting 2020 Change off the ground. For me, that showed a huge amount of resilience on my part. But it wasn't until I took myself out of the equation I actually recognized that I was demonstrating resilience. For me, it's like believing in something so much that you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. No matter how many setbacks you face, no matter how many people say no, no matter how many people don't recognize the value of what it is that you have, but you keep going. So 2020 Change actually turns 7 years this May. So
Wow.
it's been 7 years that we've been at this journey. And to me, I still feel like we have so much further to go, still so much more to do, still so many more young people to impact. But when we first started in 2013, the work that we're doing now was totally unheard of. And because of my background, so you introduced me as a filmmaker. That was my dream. I wanted to make films. In fact, when I was younger, I wanted to star in films and I wanted to be the face out there. But then I realized actually the people behind the cameras make a lot more money and their careers last a lot longer. So I think I want to do that. So I went into that. And then I made a documentary film on gang culture in inner city London. And if you want to talk about resilience, you can't find any more people that are more resilient than gang members in inner city London, right? So I documented their lives about 18 months, getting to know them well. And then I realized that they had something that they didn't necessarily know that they had. They had skills, they had qualities that the world was craving, but they just didn't know how to present those skills to the world. And unbeknown to me, I was actually mentoring them while I was filming with them, teaching them some of the skills that I picked up, how I was able to transition from that life into a more positive life. And I thought there must be organizations that are doing this out there. There must be organizations that are helping young people transition from that world. We had a term that we called it. So we targeted young people that were involved in the term street enterprise. And we'll teach them how to utilize those skills as transferable skills that they can use in modern day world. And that's where the idea for 2020 Change came from. And you can imagine a young person that has a graphics and advertising degree went and studied filmmaking, now saying he wants to change the mindsets of young people in inner city London. Doesn't make any sense. What gives me the credibility to be able to do that? So, you know, when we started, I knew and I believed in the program that we had. So the program that we have now is pretty much the same as we've always had in 2013. We've just evolved it and we've added delivery partners just to make the content even stronger. But early on, nobody believed in the program. Nobody thought that the program could change anyone. We were told that we could apply for funding. We were told that, you know, if you take this to this government body, they'll give you the money to continue on. But the more I looked into it, the more I started to realize actually, because it doesn't necessarily fit into their agenda and what they're trying to push, that they wouldn't really fund it and they'll try and change what we have to fit into their agenda. I was like, I'm going to go at it alone. And that was the difficult part. That was where the difficulty came in because I didn't have any money. I didn't have any backing. I just had an idea and I had a belief that I had the ability to change young lives. So I started working with young people, gathering them, delivering the program to them, mentoring them, keeping in contact with them, being a mentor, advising them when they face difficulty and just telling them the way to go. And I knew that if I kept doing that over the years, that number of young people would grow. But what I wanted essentially was to have a group of young people that I'd mentored for about 5 years, because I knew that it was going to take that time to really turn them around, get them to apply the content that we've been teaching them and actually start doing things on their own. So that actually happened. So 5 years on, we then came in contact with Converse and we had already built a whole pipeline of young people, like a catalogue of young people that we've helped single-handedly. So hence why I still had to have the 9 to 5. I had to pay my bills. I had to use money from that, pump it into the organization. But there was just a lot of resistance along the way. People not necessarily believing in what we had because we didn't have the infrastructure. We didn't have the governance. We just had an idea. We had the belief that what we could do could change young people's lives, and we just kept going at it. And that for me is just overcoming each obstacle that came along, built my emotional strength. It built my ability to actually keep going. And each and every single young life that we helped and young life that we turned around gave me the motivation to keep going. Because it was like, with that one, there's even 100 more. And that's how our network just started to grow. So word of mouth enabled our network to grow. We'll help one young person, they'll go out, tell their network, and then they'll want to come on the program. And here we are. So this is 7 years on, probably on about 750 young people since inception. Wow. You know,
that is incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
And do you know what? I never knew the full backstory. I never knew it was 7 years, Duro. Like I knew that you guys have been going, you know, but something that is obvious and even apparent, because as you're talking, I feel quite emotional listening to this. I don't quite an emotional guy, right? But But it does. I think you use the word belief a lot.
Yeah.
And I've seen you in action.
Yeah.
And I've seen the belief, the unwavering belief you have in these young people.
Yeah.
No, it's truly inspiring.
Same.
I want to know, where did you get your belief? Like, where, those setbacks, those obstacles, those knockbacks, if you like, the rejections that you face going down the road that you've been down. How did you maintain that belief?
I'll be honest with you, and I'll strip it all the way back. In 2006, August the 16th, 2006, I finished university. I moved back into London, and I decided that I was going to turn my life around. So parts of the story, just because of the time that we have, I'm not going to go in too deep into it, but I lived the same life as the young people that I was trying to help prior to August 2006. And for me, I walked into a church and I said that I'm never walking out again. That's where the sense of belief came. It was when I walked into the church and I really decided to turn my life around. Nobody asked me to. I grew up in a Christian home, but I'd never really taken my faith seriously. And I decided to walk into the church on that day and just leave everything there. Leave my whole life, leave all the money that I had, just bury everything on the altar and come out a new person. And I said, I'm going to do this consistently until I'm changed on the inside. So I was a bad person before, and I felt like in my core, there was still some good in there. And I wanted to be able to find an environment that will nurture that good, bring that good out of me and make me what I was created to be, in essence. So going into the church, not many people knew about my old life. So they just saw this young person coming into the church, giving these all volunteering. So they wanted to help me. And I'd never really had that before. For the first time, I had people around me that genuinely cared for my well-being, genuinely cared for my progression. That was the first time I really experienced that kind of love outside of my immediate family. I didn't know that there were people like that. So if you can imagine the kind of life that I lived, that kind of love didn't exist. So experiencing that, learning that, I thought other young people need this as well. I started thinking about some of my friends that I left behind, and I thought to myself, they won't walk into the church in the same way that I did. So what can I do to help them? Not just them. It doesn't need to stop with my immediate circle of friends, but what can I do? How can I become that person that I needed when I was younger to stop me from going down the road that I went down, to stop me from making some of the mistakes that I made? And it was in that moment that I took it upon myself to be that person for young people. So my pastor at the time, she really took me under her wing, truly believed in me, poured herself into me. And I was like, I need to be like this for other people because I know what it did for me. Like I said, internally, I genuinely thought that I was a terrible person. There was no redeeming me, but I knew there was a glimmer of hope inside. She saw that glimmer of hope and didn't let go of that glimmer of hope. Regardless of what she heard about me, she always believed the best in me, always believed that she could make me do something good and something positive. And I just thought, and I stumbled along the way. I wasn't perfect, I messed up every now and then, but she still welcomed me back with open arms. And it was that love that she had for me that I thought, I want to be her to others. And that's what you see when you're coming into the sessions and when I'm engaging with the young people, when I'm believing in them, encouraging them, pushing them. That's where it stemmed from. And that's where that sense of belief came from. So anytime I felt kind of setbacks or felt like I can't go on anymore, I remember her words of encouragement, all of that kind of stuff. That's literally what kept me going.
Wow. and like, you're going to make me cry, Duro.
It's not my aim.
I think it's amazing that you had that insight, to recognize that life was maybe going in a direction that you never hoped. And, we can often believe that we're a bad person or a terrible person, or we all often criticize and critique ourselves in that way. And that glimmer, that light, the glimmer that you could see, that hope, which has come up a lot in these conversations about resilience, that's one of the key ingredients. But I'm also taken from what you described was the belief you receive from others, that unconditional love
Mm,
received
mm,
from others, was important as well. And I think belief for me, I often say to I work with leaders and I work with individuals who often lead other people, and I share this with the coaches that we train. I say, the four most powerful words you can say is, "I believe in you." When you have an unwavering belief in someone and an unconditional love for that person, and also an acceptance that nobody's perfect.
no.
Of course, we're going to make mistakes. Of course, we're going to stumble and fall. Of course, we're going to look back and wish we'd maybe done things differently or approach situations in a better way. But I love the fact that you were able to identify that goodness in you, that hope, and that someone else was there to shine it back on you.
Yeah, yeah.
You got the mirror, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's powerful stuff. And
Thank you.
I've seen Duro in action, and listen, Duro's like a guru when these kids come in. It's like you command so much respect in a room, but there's so much love coming from you as well. It's like palpable. You can feel it. And I remember when we were in a session, and I'm not obviously going to name any names, but I remember we done a gratitude session, and we, I took people into a gratitude meditation, the young people, and then when we came out of the meditation, I asked people to share. I don't know if you remember the moment, but I remember one of the individuals saying, "I'm grateful for Duro," and he was welling up. He had tears in his eyes, and he talked about how you'd met him in prison, right? And shared that gratitude for how his life changed the moment he met you.
Yeah, that's it was a special moment because obviously no one was expecting it, and it wasn't scripted or anything like that. I was in the back of the session. I was like, whoa, where did that come from? But no, that was definitely a special moment. And I mean, he was just one individual that was given that opportunity to voice that. But you never know what young people are going through unless you have an open and honest conversation with them. And they have so many barriers up that it takes a lot of chipping away at those barriers to really get to the core individual that's on the inside. And that's not something that is done overnight.
Yeah.
It's not something that happens in just one conversation. The young person really has to believe in you that you've got their true best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And I mean, no one can't pay you enough for that, because there's not enough hours in the day to be able to give yourself to a young person in that way, to the point where they know that no matter what time of day, they can rely on you to be there for them when they need something, So yeah, like my work, can I even call it work? Do you know what I mean? Can I even call it that? Because I genuinely believe this is the reason why I've been placed on this earth. And no matter the situation, no matter, what's going on around the world, that joy, that excitement to get up and do what I do on a daily basis will always be there, because my reward or my payment or my return is seeing the smile on a young person's face when they achieve things that they never thought possible because someone believed in them. And for me, it's like, this is my way of paying it back to my pastor, that what she did for me, So it's like, every time I get the opportunity, I try and tell her that, I wouldn't be the person that I am without you. And the impact that I've had on young people over the years wouldn't have happened without you. So it's just being that one individual, like what the impact she's had on me has caused me to help close to 750 plus young people. Those 750 plus young people are going to go on and help even more young people. And that's all traced back to me coming in contact with her, So it's quite humbling. It's quite humbling.
Well, it's a ripple effect, that you're creating. And like I said, it's obvious to see when you begin hanging about the 2020 change group. And I think something you said, really struck me. You talked about, the barriers that can be placed in the way of a young person when, life has been challenging or they found themselves in situations. And, it comes down to a lot of trust. And like you said, trust that they believe that you have the right interests for them or the true interests at heart for them. And yet the thing that strikes me is every time I come in to deliver a 2020 change, session is the openness and the warmth that we experience. You know, like I've shared this with you multiple times. We deliver corporate workshops all the time, and those are tough nuts to crack. Like, you know, it's like sometimes there's a lot of skeptics in the room, and what I find is I come into the room at 2020, and I know Stuart says the same, and there's a warmth, and there's an ambition and an aspiration to learn. You know, there's an openness, and what it shows me is that these young people have already got the trust in you and the organization. And I think you've now seen so many people turn around, right, and change through your programs. I wonder, what is it about the young people that when they feel that belief, when they feel that trust, how did they access this resilience? How did they begin to believe in themselves? You know, what's the common denominator that you see as people come through your programs?
Do you know what it is? A lot of these young people, they have that self-belief, but it's kind of like they need someone to be able to bounce it back off. So I always tell them in delivering the sessions, I'm just there to hold up a mirror. That's it. And I'm that voice behind the mirror saying, oh, look at you today. Yeah, look at that. And then telling them about their great features that they can see inside of them, but they don't really believe. So it's like, when they don't believe in themselves, I'm looking, are we looking at the same mirror here? Like, can you see what I see? So it's just bouncing it back off of them. So nobody really believes that they're terrible on the inside. Even though, like I said, I did a lot of terrible things, but I knew that there was still some good inside me, right? So the young people do know that they have good inside them, but they've never really been able to bounce that off and reflect it off on someone that genuinely believes that that good is in them as well. So you could even argue that we believe more in them than they do in themselves when they first come in. So what we're doing is we're building that up. We're building that up. So when your session happens, I think you guys come in probably about 3 to 4 weeks in. So our program is 6 weeks. So we've been doing that consistently for 3 to 4 weeks. So by the time they meet you, they're completely open. Yeah. It's now like, well, these guys haven't stirred me wrong till this point. And I always tell them, I don't tell them what your sessions are like. I just tell them wear comfortable clothes and come with an open mind. That's it. So they come in, the music's going, the yoga mats are laid, and they're thinking, what is going on here? And you'll be surprised as well. You've seen some hard nuts come in as well. Like, you know, people that you wouldn't expect. And by the end of the session, they're in tears. And you're just like, this is amazing. So we've managed to cultivate that trust and that love. And like I said, it's a personal experience for me. This is not, I didn't go to school for this. I don't plan to go to school for this, because it's a life lesson that I've learned, lived experience that I went through, and I know that it works. And I've proven that it works just from the amount of young people that come through. And like I said, we're going to continue enhancing the program, bringing in experts. And I love what I take from your sessions as well. When you're sharing about gratitude, the last one that you did with us was about a positive mindset. A lot of what you say resonates with what we say already. So it just hammers home that point. It's just, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. And it's like, Duro saying it. These guys are saying it. Everyone that we bring in is saying it. The videos that we watch, it's all saying it. I need to put it to work and get the same results that these guys are saying. So that young person already believes in themselves. We just help draw it out. You know, we just help draw it out, and we help bring out what's already on the inside of them. And a lot of them, depending on the environment, the family setting that they grew up in, they don't have that. You know, and it's very easy for someone that grew up in safe, conducive family environment to think that everybody has that. But the truth of the matter is they don't. My family upbringing, it was nice. It wasn't the best. Made the most of it. But even that, I'm coming to find out that young people have it worse than I did. Yeah. You know, so I'm blessed. I'm married to a beautiful wife. She grew up, I mock her about it. She grew up in a bubble. Everything in her world is perfect. She comes across me, and I'm telling her about the young people that we're working with, and she's just like, what? And then she meets the young people, and she just can't put the two together. She can't see how this young person has had such a difficult background and difficult upbringing, but yet, you see them, they still got a smile on their face.
Yeah.
You know, they see them, they're still happy to see you. They're still jolly. Like if a regular person went through what half of what our young people went through, God knows where they'll be by now. Do you get it? So that tenacity, that resilience that we're talking about, they live it day in, day out, for that glimmer of hope that one day I'm going to be able to turn this around. And what we do is we just offer them options where they can turn it around, different opportunities where they can turn it around, opportunities that they didn't even know existed, having them meet with people that they wouldn't have crossed paths with in a million years. You know, just bringing them into that conducive, safe environment where you can be yourself, be open, and realize that the world doesn't have it in for you. You know, you just need to go out there and try and get the best from the world, but you need to put yourself out there. You can't be in your house and think that things are just going to fall into your lap. It doesn't work that way. So you trust in our program enough to come out of your comfort zone and come into our program with an open mind. That's the first step. We can then take you on that journey of self-discovery. In 6 weeks, you've reintroduced yourself to yourself. And now it's your opportunity for you to go and introduce yourself, the new version of you, to the rest of the world. And it's a beautiful thing to see, I'm telling you.
I love it. And I've been fortunate to attend many of the graduations now. And it's mind-blowing. You know, I think I remember the graduation that we had in East London not so long ago. And
yeah, it was August 2019.
August 2019. And I think I sat the whole night like just in awe of one, the talent, of the ingenuity, of the innovation. Seeing these young people, they had went through a transformation. And I think what I loved as you were talking there, Duro, is that there may be people at home, young people at home, who will watch this interview, and hopefully your message is loud and clear, that goodness, that hope, that light may sometimes seem like it's gone out, or it may sometimes seem like we can't even see that light or have that glimmer of hope in ourselves. And the resounding message from you and from I, through the work that I do, is that it's there.
Always there.
Always there.
Always there. Always. That light, that flame can never go out. You know, you just need to work out what you need to do to intensify it. You know, and I'm living proof of that. That light is always there.
Yeah. And that's where we find resilience, right?
This is it.
You know, we were inspired to start this movement because people are searching for resilience, and we were like, they're searching in the wrong place. You know, it's like inside.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah.
And I think even listening to your story today, because it's been incredible. And thank you for sharing the backstory. Thank you for sharing, more about 2020. I now know why I was so magnetized towards, participating.
Yeah.
I had an even deeper insight to what you guys are doing today on this call. And it's become apparently clear why I've been drawn to working with you guys, because I have this innate desire to help young people. And I think it's all too easy in the world that we live in for society to make a judgment and for restrictions and difficulties to be put in place for young people without knowing the full story, without knowing the challenges that young people go through. Yeah. And I think what you guys are doing are you're drawing attention to the fact that a lot of the young people you work with, if not all of them, are good people, and they just need an opportunity and they need someone to believe in them.
That's exactly it.
So it's been incredible speaking to you today.
Time has just flown by.
I don't know how long we've been on for, but I'm reckoning it must be probably close to half an hour, if not more.
Yeah, we're getting there.
and wow. I suppose you inspire me as a human being, Duro. I know that you inspire the many young people coming through your program. I'd love just to take a moment to find out more about, if people are watching this and they feel inspired by your work, which I have no doubt they will be, can you tell us a bit more about 2020 Change, the ambitions for the future, and how people can find out more about your program?
Amazing. Yeah, sure. So you can find out via our website, so www.2020change.org. We've got a strong presence on social media as well. So just search for 2020 Change on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, we're all over it. But our program, it's the I Am Change program. And in essence, what we do is we focus around the mindset, helping young people cultivate a positive mindset to approach the different challenges that they'll face in life. We see ourselves sitting between that difficult transition from adolescence to adulthood. How can a young person transition into being a fully fledged adult? And in today's day and age, a lot of young people are afraid of adulthood. So they find safety mechanisms in different areas that stops them from actually being the best version of themselves. We actively prepare them for that on our program. We pride ourselves on being able to teach things that are not taught in schools. So it's an addition to what's the national curriculum is teaching. But the young person comes out with a true understanding of who they are, their skill sets, and also a network where they can start to apply that skill set. So for anybody that's watching that wants to support us in any way, there's several ways that you can support us online. Alister and the team over there are doing an amazing thing trying to raise money for us as well, which is great. But another thing that we're keen on is opportunities for our young people. And I think that that's more valuable to us than the money itself. Obviously, money is good because that keeps everything running, but the opportunities for our young people, like I said, we've got 750 young people that have graduated from our program and they're hungry for opportunity. We have vetted each and every single one of them. We can vouch for each and every single one of them. And once we make a connection with a corporate that can offer internships, work experience, full-time employment, they're the kind of things that we're looking for. And also on a smaller scale of things, just a coffee catch up, you know, a conversation with one of our young people, giving them an insight into who you are, how you got into where you are, what industry you're in, so they can draw some insights into that as well. They're all about expanding their network, meeting people that they wouldn't ordinarily meet. So that's why I love platforms like this, allowing us to get our message to a different audience. And hopefully we can start spreading that positivity around, and more people can see that young people are not afraid. they're not people to be afraid of. And also young people can start seeing people in prominent positions, corporates, business owners, as, you know, regular people as well. You know, we're all human beings at the end of the day with different experiences. And it's important that we have conversations like this so we can get to understand each other better. So that's it.
Absolutely. And listen, I come away from every session having learned lots, you know, from your young people. They're some of the most wisest.
This is it.
You know, I mean, some of the stuff these young people say in these sessions blows my mind. I'm like, you know, they could probably take my role, to be honest. They could
Yeah, we get that a lot.
I'm like, wow, where did that come from? You know, it's like amazing. And I think, you know, Duro, I want to fly the flag for you guys and, you know, any corporates watching this, and we're going to put this out to our corporate network. Any corporates watching this that feel inspired to get in touch with 2020 Change and support them to give opportunities to these young people, we want to absolutely support that message. So reach out to Duro or myself. We'll make sure that happens. As Duro said, we are using Realize Resilience to raise money for 2020 Change as one of our, you know, charities and social enterprises that we're supporting. So again, if you can, and if you feel inspired to, please donate to these guys. They're doing incredible work. We've seen it firsthand. And I have a feeling you're only getting started as well, Duro. So
it's just the beginning. I mean, it's 2020. I mean, our organization's called 2020 Change. Funny thing, people always used to ask, so what's going to happen in 2021? I was like, you guys are too short-sighted. It's not about the year. 2020 vision, perfect vision. If you can get the young people to see right, we can get them to act right. That's the aim.
I love it. If you can get them to see right, we can get them to act right.
That's it.
Duro, what a great message to end on. So thank you for your time today, taking the time out your busy schedule. I'm looking forward to the next session that we'll deliver for 2020 Change. But you know, anyone that wants to reach out, please reach out to Duro or I. And like I said, Duro, just thank you so much for everything you're doing. You know, keep believing, keep inspiring.
Will do. You too. You are doing amazing work as well. You know, we have to keep championing each other and just keep putting positivity out there, and really just, we can only do what we can do in our own little way. Hopefully we can make a larger impact together. You know, the more of us that come together, the bigger the impact that we can make.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, listen, Duro, enjoy your evening. Have a great weekend. Thank you
No
so much
problem,
for
man.
coming on. Okay.
Thank you very much. All right. Talk to you
Yeah.
soon.